History, as most of us learned it, feels like a carefully arranged story, clean, structured, and often inspiring. We are taught about great revolutions, powerful leaders, and defining moments that shaped the world. But what we rarely realize is that this version of history is only a surface-level narrative. Beneath it lies a much darker, more complex reality that is often ignored or intentionally hidden. The truth is, history is not just about facts, it is about perspective. Those who held power decided what would be remembered and what would be forgotten. As a result, entire chapters of human suffering, injustice, and moral failure have been minimized or erased. This documentary is not about rewriting history, but about uncovering the parts that were buried, stories that challenge what we thought we knew and force us to see the past in a more honest, and sometimes uncomfortable, light. When we talk about the rise of great empires, we often focus on their achievements, their architecture, their systems of governance, their military strength. But behind these accomplishments lies a brutal truth. Many of these empires were built through conquest, violence, and exploitation on a massive scale. Lands were taken by force, and entire populations were displaced or enslaved. The glory of expansion often came at the cost of countless innocent lives. For example, as European powers expanded across continents, they did not just explore, they dominated, extracted resources, and destroyed indigenous cultures. These actions were often justified at the time as civilizing missions, but in reality, they caused irreversible damage to societies that had existed for centuries. Yet, in many textbooks, these events are simplified or framed in a way that downplays their brutality. The uncomfortable truth is that what is often celebrated as progress was, for many, a story of loss, pain, and survival against overwhelming odds. Another deeply hidden aspect of history is the way information has been controlled and manipulated. Throughout time, rulers and governments have understood the power of narrative. By shaping how events are described, they could influence how people think and feel. Wars, for instance, are rarely presented as they truly were. Instead of focusing on the destruction and human cost, they are often portrayed as necessary battles for freedom, honor, or national pride. While these ideas may hold some truth, they often hide deeper motivations such as economic gain, territorial expansion, or political control. Propaganda has played a major role in this process, turning complex and often tragic events into simple stories of good versus evil. Over time, these narratives become accepted as unquestionable truths. But when historians and researchers dig deeper, they often uncover contradictions, evidence that challenges the official version of events and reveals a far more complicated reality. While leaders and generals dominate the pages of history books, the experiences of ordinary people are often left out. Yet, it is these individuals who lived through the true impact of historical events. During wars, it was not just soldiers who suffered, but families who lost loved ones, communities that were destroyed, and generations that grew up in fear and uncertainty. In times of colonization and expansion, it was local populations who faced displacement, cultural erasure, and systemic oppression. Even in periods of so-called peace, many people lived under harsh conditions, struggling to survive in systems that favored the powerful. These stories are rarely told in detail, perhaps because they are too painful or too complex. But without them, our understanding of history remains incomplete. By listening to these forgotten voices, we begin to see history not just as a series of events, but as a deeply human experience filled with emotion, resilience, and struggle. One of the most disturbing truths about history is that its consequences do not simply fade away with time. The decisions made in the past continue to shape the world we live in today. Many modern conflicts, social inequalities, and political tensions have roots that go back decades or even centuries. Borders drawn during colonial times, for example, often ignored cultural and ethnic realities, leading to ongoing disputes and instability. Systems of inequality that were established long ago can still be seen in economic disparities and social divisions today. This means that history is not just something we study, it is something we live with. Ignoring its darker aspects does not make them disappear, it only prevents us from understanding the challenges we face in the present. To truly move forward, we must first acknowledge where we have come from, even if that journey forces us to confront uncomfortable truths. In the end, exploring the dark side of history is not about negativity, it is about honesty. It is about recognizing that the past was not perfect, and that progress often came with a heavy cost. By facing these realities, we gain a deeper understanding of humanity, both its capacity for greatness and its potential for harm. History becomes more than just a collection of dates and events, it becomes a powerful tool for learning and reflection. When we question what we have been taught and seek out the full story, we empower ourselves to think critically and make better decisions for the future. The truth may not always be easy to accept, but it is essential. Because only by understanding the shadows of our past can we hope to build a brighter and more just world.